Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again, the Rev Filo Show. It's been a while since we've recorded, but we're back.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. Hello, Philippe's. Nice to see you.
What's up?
The day is, what's the date today? The 21st?
Today is the 22nd.
March 22nd. So hopefully this comes out in a couple of days. Many of you know that there's been a lot going on with the quote-unquote coronavirus. COVID-19. It seems like every day it gets worse. The country is shutting down slowly. First, I felt like we got hit first because our job got shut down over a week ago already.
Yeah, New York was hit pretty bad before Los Angeles, was where we live. But
yeah, New York is probably about a week ahead of us, huh? In terms of just like everything getting shut down.
Yeah.
I'm sure we don't have to fill you guys in because everybody watches the news. But it's just every day more and more lockdown. It started as like at least in California and Los Angeles, it started off with nothing over 250 people.
Yeah.
Where we work at a theater with, a small show is like 900 people. Yeah. So they put us out instantly. They were like,
yeah, your jobs are non-essential.
Yeah, they're like non-essential. You guys are on leave until further notice, unpaid leave, by the way. And then it just went from there. Then it went to 50. It's funny because that happened on Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. They sent us home. I remember I went to work in the morning, 8 in the morning, it was a special kids show, right?
Yeah.
And then they canceled the show. And it was funny, me and Guap, our homie, we showed up at the same time, right? I think we even took the same Uber. And he was at my house. We took the Uber, and we show up, and we see Adley, another one of our coworkers, and he's like standing outside, and he's like, "Well, what's Adley doing? How come he's not walking into work?" He's like, Did he
look like sad or just like distraught?
Adley, he doesn't really have a big range of emotion, so it's hard to really read him. He every once in a while he'll like give a smirk, if you like say something he's interested in or make him laugh. But most of the time he's kind of just like, there's not really much going on there. But we saw him and it looked like he was leaving, but work was just about to start. Yeah. And Guap says, "Oh man," he goes, "wouldn't it be funny if they cancel the show and send us home?" And sure enough, we walk up to Adley and we're like, "Well, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, they canceled the show. They're sending everybody home." And then it just fucking snowballed from there. So
yeah, I ended up calling in.
Calling out?
No. I called to let them know because my brother had let me know, like, hey, it got canceled. I came back home, whatever. I think one of his homies actually brought him home. But so I was like, no way. And I had a previous engagement, so I was gonna have to.
Where were you going?
No, not the next day.
Oh, the next day.
I'll get to that.
Okay. But
that day was Ethan's birthday. It was March 12th, and so Ashley was like begging me to like stay home. So I was going to, and so I was still debating whether I was gonna go to work or not or whatever. My brother tells me this. I call the front desk, and they're just like, "Don't show up. We're going to write you down for the 2 hours."
They paid us 2 hours.
Which was great.
I guess great,
Thank you, Music Center. Anyway, besides that, then that's when really everything started to kind of snowball.
It just snowballed, dude. Yeah. I remember Thursday they sent us home. By Friday they were saying stay home and I think it went up to nothing over 50.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, man, surely by Monday, by the end of the weekend, this will probably blow over. This and that.
Was, at the time, that kind of feels like such a...
Something that was naive.
Yeah, very naive
state of
thing
mind.
To think. Yeah.
But sure enough, by Monday, I think they 10 people, nothing over 10 people in one room or any sort of meeting, right? Yeah. And it's sort of been, and now I think they've just said just avoid contact. They say like stay 6 feet away from people, and it's like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do that?
They're calling it social distancing.
It's funny too because I never heard that word prior to this whole pandemic that's going on, but everyone uses it like it's been in it's in the dictionary, you know, like it's been part of the fucking vocab.
There's two things that they've been saying that that people are using, like if everybody's supposed to understand, and I hope everyone does. But for people who don't, there's social distancing, which it's common sense. Keep your distance from people at least 6 feet. The other one is flattening the curve.
Flattening the curve,
which is why they're quarantining and telling people to stay at home and shutting down restaurants.
But that's based off of a XY chart where there's like, I think, infections and how long like the infected and how long the virus has been around, and then it's like, okay, it showed up and everyone's getting infected because it's never been, and then
eventually it's gonna hit a plateau,
right?
And then it'll start to come back down.
The scary thing is like, it's just not ending. It's like every day, it gets worse and worse. There's more cases, and they're making us take more and more precaution as far as staying home. And I have an elderly grandfather. My parents are in their 50s, mid 50s, and my father, I just found out my dad, he has some sort of like lung issue where he actually went to the doctor and they gave him an inhaler. Like, I don't think he has asthma per se, but he has something along those lines where he has to do an inhaler now. And I know that it attacks the lungs. The COVID-19 attacks the lungs. So like, it's a little nerve-wracking. My dad he's not an unhealthy guy, but it's kind of scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, same thing for my dad. He has a pre-existing heart condition. He has high blood pressure.
Yeah,
and he's over 40. So,
and also they're saying, I hear a lot on the news now that, initially they were like, it really only affects young people or kids and older people, but people like middle-aged people like us, 20s and 30s and stuff, like, we're good. But now they're saying that like pretty much no one is safe. Like,
well, they're saying that. I mean, it's from the information that I know, a lot of the younger people that they said, like there was this guy, and it's all over Facebook, and it just pisses me off because people are misinforming other people, and people that go on Facebook are believing that shit.
There's so much shit I see on Facebook, and it's just like, I don't know what's true and what's not. Well, you know what I'm saying?
This one I can debunk for you.
Okay.
There's this guy in Pasadena who passed away a couple days ago, and he was 34.
Okay.
And so people were like, oh, he's young. You guys, the young need to watch out. And it's all over Facebook. They're saying this guy died. He went to Disneyland. Like if Disneyland, if for whatever reason he went to Disneyland, oh, nothing can happen to you if you went to Disneyland. And he came back from Disneyland. He got sick, was coughing. He had all the symptoms of coronavirus. He went to the doctor. He got diagnosed, came back positive, and the virus overtook him, and he passed away, unfortunately.
Scary.
But
and
what people are not telling... You
said, real quick, said that it's like a really terrible way to die, that it like suffocates you.
Yes, because it essentially gives you pneumonia, and what pneumonia does is it fills your lungs with fluid, and eventually you will not be able to breathe, and you will suffocate in your own fluid if it goes untreated. And there's no known treatments or vaccines for this coronavirus. That's why it's scary, especially if you have elderly parents or if you have pre-existing lung conditions or chronic diseases, like for instance, like a heart issues, lung issues, hypertension, whatever it is. Now this guy who passed away, what people fail to mention on Facebook is that this guy had bronchitis. He had pneumonia previously, so his lungs were already scarred from pneumonia. He had a lot of underlying pre-existing
right. He wasn't
conditions.
Just some he wasn't like fucking an athlete. Perfect condition.
But people were like taking this and running with it and be like, you see, no, it's
but
not.
That's what I hate that. Like everyone's like, unless you're a doctor
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a nurse, that's on the front lines, I'm not gonna listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Really. Even the only thing I listen to now is like I'll watch the news. I watch the news to sort of keep up with what's
Mhm.
going on. But like most of it just bums me the fuck out.
Oh, yeah,
Because it's
dude.
like, man, and like
Well, because they're highlighting a lot of the shit that sells and makes and gives
Right.
ratings. And when what gives ratings is fear. People are afraid right now. So people are running to whoever's going to give them information.
people are very afraid.
Uh-huh.
If you've noticed, for those who follow the podcast and watch us regularly, we tend to have people on often. We'll have an extra guest, whether it be our Jrat or Mike or Orlando, or we'll have a few people on, or we'll have like some musicians come on. If you notice, no one's here. It's just me and Felipe, and that's because we invited some people down.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wanted to come. Nobody wanted to leave their house. I don't know if this because they're lazy and they blame it on the virus, or if they're like legitimately like scared. But people are scared.
Mhm.
And I know for me, I mean, like, I told my dad. It's funny when they started this whole thing.
Mhm.
I told my dad, like, when they said stay home, I was like, Dad, I don't leave the fucking house anyways. Like, I go to work and I go
Come
home.
straight home?
And like because I don't really go out. I don't go to the club. Like, the only thing I do is, I don't know, go to the movies, and even then I don't go to the
Yeah.
movies that often because it's so expensive.
I'm
So
not rich enough to be
it's
going
not
out.
the only
Paps.
thing that's fucking me over is that we lost our jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can file for unemployment, but
There's so many people.
there's so many people filing. I tried to file yesterday. The system was down. They're like, it's under maintenance. They're trying to fix it. Hopefully I'll have better luck today. But it's just it's scary, and you
Yeah.
keep hearing things and you don't
But-
want them to be true, and then they end up being true.
Yeah, but you just have to stay calm. This is
Oh, I'm
it's a
calm.
serious it's a serious disease virus. But it's similar to the flu, yet it's not because there's no vaccine.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is wash your hands. Wash your hands. Stay away. Social distancing.
I mean, I wash my hands anyways. But I definitely was not a hand sanitizer
Yeah.
user. Like, it never really occurred to me. The thing I am, though, and I've been my whole life, I'm a face toucher. I always touch my face for some reason.
That's a big
So I've been like
thing.
really like, and
Honestly, that's why it was making me nervous when we were working and you were touching the rails, because I know how much you touch your face.
Well, I've been very aware of it this
Yeah.
past week. Like sometimes I'll find myself like, but I'll be like, fuck, and then what I'll do is I'll get my shirt and I'll be like,
Yeah. We went to Disneyland too.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, like,
yeah,
you went to Disneyland
the last day.
The last day.
So today,
So that
March
was what?
22nd. This
Uh-huh.
was on the 13th, which is Friday. We went and we had planned to go to Disneyland for months. I remember I told you we were gonna take Ethan to Disneyland. Oh well,
Mhm.
not for months. I'm gonna say probably like a month, because the whole moving situation or whatever. We had to change Ethan's birthday, so we were gonna have him a birthday party. Decided to take him to Disneyland. That Thursday, everything gets shut down. Disneyland was up in the air, and they were taking the extra precautions. They were saying,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, we're putting out sanitizers."
Hey, your glasses are fogging up.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
I was like, what's that shit on the bottom?
They say they were taking extra precautions and
Yeah.
and putting hand sanitizer around.
And there's like hand sanitizer at every fucking corner now, which
Yeah.
ain't a bad thing,
No, definitely not.
Anyway,
So we ended up going. My dad was afraid.
yeah.
He was like, just be careful. Don't touch anything. We had hand sanitizers. He brought us hand sanitizer from Mexico. That's how we got some.
Yeah.
Because there was none here. There was none here. You know what I did? I actually got some pads, like makeup remover pads.
Uh-huh.
And God damn it, glasses.
It's fine.
We got some pads, and I put some alcohol and then let them
Mhm.
soak in there. So, and it was probably like 70% alcohol, alcohol, just regular rubbing alcohol.
Right.
And then I kept it so that way we had little wipes. and
okay.
we used that.
So they're like makeshift like
Yeah.
hand sanitizer wipes.
We just didn't
right?
have, they're a little bit harsher than the regular hand sanitizer
Yeah.
because it's just pure rubbing alcohol. Because
Right.
the other ones have like aloe vera gel or some shit. Anyway, we took that. We took little bottles of hand sanitizer, and we went. I never would have guessed.
So how was it? Because I mean,
So,
I asked you.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk
and
about
you
this.
were like, "Well, I want to talk about it on the podcast."
Yeah.
And
Sorely asked me too, and
Yeah.
like I didn't really want to say anything.
you said something. If you don't mind me jumping, I don't know if you want to go through like your whole trip, but you said that at the end when you were leaving that it was a very ominous sort of feeling.
Yeah,
It
was. So okay, so I never would have guessed
Mm-hmm.
this was gonna be like the last day of like a normal life, like in Los Angeles.
Right.
Before it.
Because I mean, the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's been turned upside
Yeah.
down.
So
We're the
March.
only thing that hasn't happened
Yeah.
is we're fucking like looting and rioting and martial law.
So March 13th for me
Mm-hmm.
was the last.
That was Friday.
Yeah, last normal day I had in Los Angeles.
Where you didn't
Or
have to think
Anaheim.
about. Where you didn't have to
think
think about all
about-
this shit.
Didn't think about quarantine. Didn't think about money or where we're gonna get our next check from. What's gonna
That's
happen?
all I've been thinking
Yeah.
about since they sent my fucking ass home.
And I went with the virus in the back of my head, but I also went with the intent of because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have went. But Ethan, he was, he really wanted to go, and he has no idea of like what the extent to this. And thank God to this day, there has been no recorded death from the coronavirus, from COVID-19 on any with children. There's no recorded death from children.
Right. Imagine like everyone dies off except for like
kids. I know.
for
I
like
was thinking about that
like
the other
12-year-olds are like the
Yeah.
oldest to survive, and like it's like fucking a global Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, I know how we had like
Can you imagine? Fuck.
that'd be insane.
But I mean, I had a buddy who told me that his grandfather, was orphaned when he was like 12 years old or something, and that he was on his own since he was 12. He had been on his own, just finding his way, finding ways to make money, and he had been supporting himself since he was 12 years old, and like,
Fuck.
so it can be done,
Yeah. hopefully not. But yeah, like you said, it can be done. When we were at Disneyland,
But can you imagine, like, what if, I mean, worst case scenario, fucking your whole household drops dead, and now it's Ethan, and
By
Ethan
himself.
has to look over your new nephew who's what, 2 months old?
Yeah,
I mean,
that couldn't be done.
I mean, there was a kid I knew who he used to work at the music center, and he said that when he was like 5 years old or something, or 4 years old or whatever, that his parents abandoned him, and that he was in his house for like a couple weeks by himself until like someone came, like social services or somebody came and found him and like put him into the system and shit. But he
What the fuck?
he
That's scary.
he somehow made it through. So I mean, like, never say never. I mean, not that I'm saying it's gonna get to that point, but
Not to
It's crazy to think
downplay, my child's intelligence, but
it's not that he's not. It's not that he's not. It's not that he's not smart. It's just that he's so innocent.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But hey, you know what? Like, sink or swim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think Ethan. Let's just say worst comes to worst, and suddenly he's orphaned. He got nobody now. He's on his own. I think Ethan would probably be really fucking scared and probably cry for about a week. But I think eventually, instinct might kick in.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit. It's
you
gonna
know?
have to.
All of a sudden he's got like a little bandana and the little thing. He's got like a machete.
And he's the leader of this
and
fucking
that, and
like.
he's got little Lorenzo on his back, and
He's this leader. A little off.
I mean, the
topic.
house is stocked with food at least.
Before we, I know no shit. Before we go to back to the
Uh-huh.
Disneyland subject, there was a little like funny thing I found out. Like it just reminded me because like Ethan and Zozo fucking end up becoming like these leaders of a gang, like a children
Right.
gang. In Thailand, because there's no tourists anymore, there's the monkeys that used to come. I'm sure you've seen videos of this. It's all over where like monkeys
Right.
come down and the tourists feed them and shit. So
Right.
like they're accustomed to being around humans. Now that there's no tourists around, these monkeys created gangs, and they're like fighting for territory for food and shit like
Really?
that because there's nobody there to feed them anymore. So they're like fighting. Their survival is.
I mean, that's kind of what monkeys do. Like if you watch like nature programs, like monkeys, they form packs and they will go up against other like packs of monkeys.
Well, that's what's going on in Thailand, but like in the streets though.
Yeah, shit, fuck. Imagine like we're wiped out, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say we're wiped out completely, and then the monkeys come down, and they just start living in like leftover civilization, and then like you said, they start.
Well, they say the
gangs and
monkeys
stuff.
are in Stone Age right now.
Yeah, well, shit. I mean, here's the thing. I saw something. There's a thing on Netflix, a show called Explained. They talk about different. They pretty much they pick a subject and then they do about a 20-minute overview of that subject. They did one on pandemics, which was it's funny. That's another weird thing.
Came out right before, right?
There's a lot of stuff on Netflix right now. There's like a pandemic. There's a whole show dedicated to pandemics. They did that. That movie Outbreak came out. They did the pandemic episode with that Netflix show Explained, and it's like all this shit came out, and now we're in the midst of it, and it's just like I don't know. It's just some things are like I said. Some things are so coincidental that
it's like they made you like, well, at least now I know what to do. Thank you, Netflix.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, Netflix, thank you. But it's just weird, like I said, I think I said it on a podcast once, sometimes things are so coincidental that you just can't help but feel like it was planned,
Yeah.
Like, did you plan that? I've been planning it for years. Hey, you guys, you planned that. Some Sandlot. Fuck.
So we went, so anyway, back to Disneyland.
Yeah, so you said that.
We went.
Okay, go, yeah, just do your thing. Sorry.
So when we were there.
Just all fired up.
We got in. The only thing that really made it feel weird, because everybody was there. It was like nothing was going on in the world.
Right.
The only weird thing was, obviously, because people were probably staying home. It was like if you were at Disneyland, I want to say before before it became popular with our generation.
Yeah.
Like when adults were barely taking their kids.
It became very common, like in the early, like at the turn of the century. It started to become very common for people to get passes, and it started to become like this thing of, especially for people living in Southern California, to like go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Just to go.
Like, remember, I think I said this before, where it was like people our age are not giving the younger kids their chance to make memories with Disney
because we're so obsessed with nostalgia.
Yeah, and they're like fucking
reliving
going
our
there.
childhood.
Yeah, so they make it packed and more expensive because they're going and fucking buying it, and the kids never get their chance to really do it. So when we went, it was almost like there was no lines. The only lines there were for the popular rides like Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, and all that shit. So we were able to like Peter Pan, dude. That ride always has like a fucking. You have to get there at the very beginning of the opening time.
It always has
has like a 40-minute wait.
It's funny you say that. I never thought about that, but like you're right. Like millennials, more so than any generation that's come before it, are like there's like this whole idea that it's okay to like not grow out of things that you're into. It's okay to watch cartoons. It's okay to still play video games.
I mean, it's fine, but give the kids, let the kids.
But you're right, because it's like Gen X and boomers, like there was like, okay, now you reach a certain age like that, you got to be an adult now. You go to work and you pay bills and you have children and that sort of idea of what it means to be an adult has sort of, like everyone's like, well, why do I have to fucking give up? Like I can still be an adult and still like to fucking go to Disneyland and still like to fucking play video games and this and that and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easier for you because you have a kid, so you can sort of use that as a way to sort of like, well, I have my son, so I could take him around and still.
But by no means don't use that as an excuse. Don't have children.
Oh my god!
Especially what's going on right now.
Forget about it. I always tell because where we work, there's a lot of young kids. 18, 19, 20, 21. And I'm like an elder statesman now at the music center.
Hey, you make way for elder rep.
Yeah, and I always say, look, do whatever you want. If you want to go to college, go to college. You don't want to go to college, don't go to college. Get a job. This and that. I go, if I give you two advices, I'll give you two. If I give you two words of advice, one, be smart with your money. Two, don't have kids. Just don't. Like, and this whole like, oh, I want kids. Like, no, just don't. Don't do it. Because I'm 30 years old. I'm about to be 31. I don't have any kids. There hasn't been a fucking one moment in my life where I stopped and thought to myself, fuck, I should have had kids. You know what I'm saying? Although, you know what? I take that back. That happened for the first time the other day. When you told me the amount of money you got for your tax return, I was like, holy shit. What?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, because you have a kid?
Not worth it. Not worth it.
And then you were like, yeah, but because I have another buddy who has a kid, and he told me he got about the same amount as you. And I was like, damn. I'm like, fuck, Felipe told me the same thing, man. Shit, I'm fucking up. He goes, you're not, bro. He goes, yeah, I got that much money. He goes, I don't see a fucking cent of it.
Yeah. No. That being said, well, anyway, we're getting on a totally different subject on a rant.
I know, huh? So Disneyland.
Yeah. So we went. The only thing that Peter Pan.
Okay,
25-minute wait was the longest.
That's short.
Oh, fucking great, dude.
That's a Simpsons
episode.
We
we got to take Ethan on all the rides that we wanted to get.
That's
him
good.
On. And
it's probably the last time he's ever gonna go on a ride. We're about to be in a fucking post-apocalyptic world.
I'll get to that later.
Okay,
no,
go.
We're not. And anyway, we got and the new Star Wars land opened up.
Yeah.
Right. They have the new ride that just opened up because the land opened up, but they only had like one ride, I think, on it in it, and they weren't ready. But they were like pushing to open this for whatever reason. Totally different. I don't really have facts on that, but I know they pushed it early.
Okay.
And so the rise, it's called the Rise of the Resistance. Man, that ride is the shit.
Oh, you got on it?
I got on
it. Is it like because aren't like all those rides they're not like. Aren't they sort of based off of like the Star Tours technology where it's like it's
no? So this one they're using the new technology that they have. It's a trackless ride.
Trackless ride.
So it's gliding on the floor.
How the fuck does that work? Magnets?
They use some kind of like GPS system inside, so they know they all have like a set route, but
there's no track.
There's no track, and like you're going with other carts, so it looks like at some points you look like you're gonna collide with shit. And then you don't, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" So that kind of adds to like the suspense of the ride. But
Trackless ride.
Yeah, and they're building a new one. Hopefully, it gets done, and we get to go back to Disneyland. They're building it's called Mickey.
Because I was gonna go with you guys.
Yeah,
and like I was, I was just not in the cards for me after a while.
But but that ride. People were not able to get on that fucking ride because the way you get on it, you can't. It's not like a normal ride where you go and you wait in line. No, this way because the way it's done.
This is like a new strategy of
lines? Well,
the
way no. It's just the way this ride is done. It's how Universal they kind of immerse you like with like this little acting like before you get on. It's not as, it's like not as immersive as this was, but they do like little shows
like they like in Star Tours they do that where because they don't have Star Tours anymore. Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Like in Star Tours, you go on and then there's like a briefing.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Only that's when the ride starts.
Okay.
And then you do a couple of things and then the employees, man, I got to give it up to those Disney employees. Whoever they got to do, especially in particular the ride that I got on, that group that I got on with. Those employees, Disneyland employees, I don't know if they were actors or what, but man, they were good. They were good. And there's a point where like you get captured, and you're inside. I'm not giving away details. It's just or too many details, but you get captured, and then
now let me ask you one question real quick. This new ride, is it based off of the newest trilogy or is it based off the original?
It's based
trilogy?
off of the newest trilogy, and I hate the newest trilogy.
Yeah, you do.
But this ride was done fucking great. If you can buy into Star Wars and just forget about the new trilogy, and even if because they have the new characters in there, if you just forget about the new characters and forget if you don't like those characters, just forget about all that and enjoy the fact that they're making you feel like you went into space and you were captured and now you're escaping, and that whole experience, like man, Disney did it fucking great, dude. Great. From the minute you get on, like, and when Ethan got on, like, so when you get captured, I grabbed Ethan. Was like, well, because we're the way they have us in the ride.
Now, what are you riding? Like,
so you're in a spaceship, right? And you're new recruits for the Resistance. So they go, okay, you guys are going to get sent to boot camp or wherever. We're going to send you to a camp so you guys can get trained. You guys are getting in like a transportation shuttle, right?
Okay.
So you get in the shuttle, but you're not sitting, you're standing. And you can see out the window where the pilot's at.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and you can see out the window from the back. And you know it's a screen, but man, it's done so well
real.
that it looks like you guys take off into space. And then you guys get captured. And now from the same entrance that you came in from, now you're in this big warehouse. And they have like 20, 30 fucking stormtroopers pointing their guns at you. And it's this big room. And I don't know how the fuck they did it. Like, it could have been like the way.
So it's almost like a walkthrough.
Yeah, exactly. Like a walkthrough. But then you get to the ride after.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because, if you, I watch, there's a couple channels.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube too, like a lot of channels I watch, like there hasn't been a lot of stuff, like new stuff coming out. I don't know if everyone's scared because of the virus, but a lot of the rides at Disneyland, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, a lot of them were conceived as walkthroughs, where you just walk through them, almost like a museum of sorts, you know. So it's funny that, and then a lot of them were able, because of technology and because of Walt Disney being a visionary, they were and having Imagineers and really smart guys working for it, they were able to go beyond that.
Yeah.
But it's funny how now there's kind of reverting back to Walt's almost original
dude, and
vision.
then the animatronics, fucking flawless, dude. Almost real. Like it's like they're like 5 years away from making that shit look real. And anyway, so you get, and then so when the doors open up, I grab Ethan, pull him close to me. I'm like, okay, be quiet, Ethan, stay close to me. We just got captured. He's like, Dad, this is fake. I go, no, shh, be quiet. And then
you were kind of playing into it?
Yeah, I was playing into it. And then when we got to the interrogation room,
Ethan, maybe he will survive post-apocalyptic. He knows it's fake.
He started tripping, right? He started tripping because we got to the interrogation room and he kept saying, no, this is fake, Dad. I go, are you sure? He goes, no, right? And then so the actors start getting into it and they're like, stand in line, single formation. They start yelling at us and fucking acting like real imperialists, right?
This is all before the ride.
Yeah, this is all before you get onto the rides.
Whatever the card
is.
Yeah,
so they send you in, and then the resistance bust you guys out, and then that's when you guys get on the trackless ride and shit like that. Anyway, great fucking
girlfriend,
ride.
so I can go to Disneyland.
Yeah, dude, honestly, that resistance, Rise of the Resistance, dope.
Worth it.
Now, when we were walking around, when we did all this, we weren't thinking about the virus. But then every once in a while, you'll see people with the fucking masks, and it'll bring you back down to reality. Yeah. And then you realize, oh shit, put some hand sanitizer on, don't touch anything. And then, excuse me.
No, it's not.
And then at the end of the night, we went to California Adventure, and we watched The World of Color. Now there's this new thing called the dessert dinner thing.
Dessert? Did you say like a dessert bar?
Yeah, it's called dessert dining or dining dessert, some shit. Anyway, I purchased it. They set you up with tables.
How much was it? Pricey?
Very pricey.
Thank God for those tax returns.
Yeah. No, I didn't pay. I used my own money for that. Yeah. And I
not your own money.
Yeah.
God forbid.
I'm glad I did because look what the fuck's going on now. Anyway, so what they do is they set you up a table in the center in California Adventure, and then you can watch while you're sitting down, and they serve you a platter, a dessert platter.
Oh, okay. What's on the platter?
So it varies every show or a season.
So it's kind of like themed?
Yeah. So we got like macaroon, French macaroon, a coconut macaroon shaped in Mickey's head. That shit was bomb.
What was it?
Like
a coconut what?
A coconut macaroon.
Okay.
It was shaped Mickey Mouse. That shit was bomb. There was a cheesecake, like a peanut butter chocolate cheesecake.
So it wasn't like all you could eat?
No. They serve you the platter, and then it comes with like a cheese Imagine like what they serve the founders for their cheese plates.
God damn it! Stanley's calling me. Sorry, Stan.
Like what they serve the founders for their cheese plates at the music center. Kind of like that. And then we got 2 free drinks each, me and Ash.
Alcoholic?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
it was a cheese plate. So it was like Gouda and cheddar. Was it like, because like at the for the founders room is like this really bougie club where they have at the theaters that we work at. But you don't have to be in founders to get the cheese plate. You could buy them at the bars. Right?
Yeah. But they don't serve you.
There's like 2 cheeses that are worth eating. Like What kind of cheese did they serve? Did they serve like good cheese, like Gouda or cheddar, sharp cheddar?
I'm not really good with my cheeses, but I know
okay.
I know they did have cheddar.
Brie.
Gouda, I know they did. And then there was this like crumbly one, kind of like not sure what it was called. It was like a white crumbly cheese.
Okay. Cotija.
Yeah. They had that and crackers and grapes. And
so the
like
dessert platter was the macaroon, and then like
cheesecake,
a
and then they had like
cheesecake,
a fudge, bundt cake, like a mini. Yeah. That.
What kind of drink? Wine?
No. They had wine. They had champagne.
Yeah.
They also had they had one more. I forgot what it was. And then you get whatever signature cocktail that the bartender was making at the time. At the time we had like this. It was bombed. It was almost like a spiked sparkling lemonade. It was like grenadine, vodka, and Sprite.
Ooh,
Man, that shit was bomb.
Tastes delicious.
Yeah, we had two
Two
of those.
free drinks each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not really free because that shit was fucking.
Yeah,
on my leg.
it was all inclusive.
Yeah.
Let's call it. Okay.
And then they sat us right in the center, so we had a great fucking view, and the service was great. The people there, were, they were cool
Super
with
nice.
us, super nice. And then that was the end of the night. We watched the show. Great. We're walking out. And this is the part where I tell you it was cool what the employees did, but I didn't realize it was almost like a foreshadowing of what was gonna happen next. Almost like like when something bad happens.
They were like, see you next time.
Yeah, something like that. It was like when something bad happens in a movie and then they play happy music.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the video, Ashley put the video. She recorded this. So this is right when we're leaving.
Okay.
I'll put it up too.
Okay.
Check it
So
out.
we're watching it in real time, ladies and gentlemen. So they're like
screaming
they're like being like, okay, we're never gonna see you ever again.
Yeah, some of them were saying, we miss you already.
Low-key, I want to work at Disneyland, dude.
They never do this though.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
And they were all lined up for us to leave. Like when we were leaving, all of them, like from the people from the retails, people from the carts, people from the from the front, the ticket takers. Mm-hmm. Everyone was lined up, dude. As we were walking out, we were saying bye, love you guys, stay safe.
Damn, room for one more.
Yeah. And I told Ash, record that shit.
Yeah.
Record that shit.
Well, I mean, look, we're living in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not weird that they're going to do something they've never done before. But, fascinating.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about that dessert plate, to be honest with you.
But that's what I felt like. It was a little ominous. It was nice. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a little ominous.
Man, and then it's just been fucking snowballing ever since.
And then and then right after that, everything just started to close. And anyway, but there is lighter news.
Is there lighter news? Please
There's
give me
good
some lighter
news. Good news about this. So for those of you that are panicking about this virus, let's not panic anymore. I found some information. First of all, Wuhan.
I say we panic more.
Wuhan. The province of Wuhan, right, in China, where the coronavirus COVID-19 was originated from, right, or is believed to have originated from. Mm-hmm. March 15th, so, China closes the last temporary hospital in Wuhan.
Right, but China's been dealing with this for how many months?
Well, okay, it's a little controversial, but they've known about it officially. It was reported, I want to say around December of 2019.
Right.
That's why it's called COVID-19, because
that's when it sort of
that's
came
when
to
it
light
popped
or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there are reports.
There
are reports that they've known about it since November of 2019, and maybe even sooner, maybe October. Now, I don't want to get into politics about that or anything like that, but what I can tell you, the bright side of it is that Wuhan doctors celebrate closure of the last temporary hospital due to the dramatic fall in cases in China. So so remember how we talked about flattening the curve? Their curve is now flat. Mm-hmm. Because they've done extremes, extreme amount of quarantine.
You know, it's funny. We were watching the news on Thursday. I was at my parents' house, and they called in California they called the safer at home ordinance, right, where they pretty much told everyone stay at home, this and that. But it's we live in a democracy. We don't live in a China's communist, right?
Yeah, we're allowed to be like fuck.
We're
you.
allowed to be like, well, fuck off,
I want to die the way I want.
Yeah, if I want to die from Corona, I'm gonna die from Corona. But
don't let me die.
Yeah, but please save me, Mr. Trump. And so so it's like it's not really a mandate. It's a like. What's the word they use? It's not a mandate. It's guidelines. It's like a suggestion almost, like a heavy suggestion. And
like a recommendation.
A recommendation. And, but we live in America, so they really can't force us to do anything other than pay taxes.
Well, the only thing they can do is what they are doing is shutting down restaurants. Shutting down bars.
Right, that's right. Yeah. They shut down bars, restaurants, theaters.
So they're pretty okay. You don't want to stay home? We'll take away all the good shit.
All right, if I don't want to stay home, then we're not going to give you any motherfucking reason to go out. But it's funny because, like, we can't make people stay home. But my mom, she's so funny. She's like, fuck that. She's like, we need to do what China did and just be like, stay the fuck home or we're going to shoot your ass.
Whoa.
I was like, Ma. She's like, no.
Sounds like a delight.
Oh, yeah. She's a wonderful.
So just to give you, China, here, get this, more than 65,000 people have recovered from the virus.
That's good.
In China, and that's
I've heard about that. How China, how they kind of they're now sort of getting out of it. Sort of getting out of the woods, so to speak. Now, and then I get on fucking Facebook and on the news, hoping to hear and all I hear is new case.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to do this because that's all we hear is just numbers. Forget all that.
Yeah.
The temporary hospitals are closed in China. China knows I mean, many will disagree with me.
China knows what they're doing?
They're doing whatever China. They did. Whatever they did, it's working. As long as these numbers are right, and if people are listening to numbers, if these numbers are right, if they're not lying about these numbers.
Here's what I don't like. If there's a there's a virus going around, okay, it is what it is. We got to do what we can. And, the government and Trump, they're doing what they can. But I watch some of these Trump, like, when he's addressing the press and like, he says like so much like unnecessary shit. He's calling the virus the Chinese virus, which you said, wow, it came from fucking China. So
no, I said, oh, me?
Yeah, you said that, didn't you?
No, I said believed to have originated. Don't twist my fucking words.
Right. No. You said incompetence.
That's what we're talking about. You're a Facebooker, dude.
Oh man, he like there's just a way like that Trump he's just so condescending.
Yeah.
And like this is not the time to be condescending.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, what's going on with that is that China and the U.S. right now, currently, we're having this is like there's this battle of rhetoric right now, or just battle of like words on where the virus, who's handling it right, who's who's doing this right. That's the whole reason why this, a lot of people too believe that this quarantine that's going on right now across the nation, in the U.S., is politically driven, because what's going on right now, the elections.
Yeah,
who's getting affected right now?
And it's
older people,
and it's like
who goes out to vote.
I can't
older people.
I can't help but think like. They say every election year there's always something. H1N1, Ebola, blah, 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 SARS, and these are all real things, but we've never had this extent of reaction where they're shutting things down. People can't work. The economy is up in the air.
Another thing too is you have to remember that this virus is super contagious, and you don't show symptoms until some in some cases after 20 days. So you can't tell who's infected right away. At least with Ebola and SARS and MERS, we're able to. You're like, oh shit, this motherfucker's sick. Let's get him the fuck out of here. Let's quarantine this motherfucker. But you can't do that when the symptoms don't show up right away.
Right.
And so that's the reason why we're having this issue with COVID-19. But like I said, on the upside, over 80,000 cases recorded, 3,000 deaths recorded in China. Well, so all of their temporary hospitals are closed. Some more news, and this might make everybody kind of calm down a little bit because this is all over the news right now. At least it should be. I know Trump talked about this. In India, they cured 2 patients. Well, I think one of them is still going under treatment. I just looked up in a recent update, but one of them is still going under treatment. It's a couple. A wife and a husband was treated. They were tourists from Italy who had the virus, and they went to India. And they were
poor Italy too, man.
I'll get to Italy right now. Yeah. But when they went to India, Indian doctors treated them with the combination of 2 HIV treatments, which is lopinavir, and ritonavir. They gave them 200 milligrams, 50 milligrams, twice a day. But the biggest one they gave them, the next treatment they gave them, was they gave them chloroquine, which is for malaria.
Okay.
And now, the wife, she now tests as negative, so she's cured from the virus. Her husband's still undergoing treatment. He has an undisclosed lung disease, so that may be the issue with him. Remember, this disease or this virus attacks the lungs. So if he has a lung disease or some type of lung disease, he's gonna have a hard time with this virus. Chloroquine. Now that is readily available in the U.S. All we have to do is get the FDA to approve what the doses we're gonna get, and that's a potential treatment. That means people are gonna be cured from the coronavirus, from COVID-19.
Yeah, that's good.
We're just waiting for FDA to approve the dosage, because you don't want to just say, okay, start taking chloroquine, and then people and then they start treating this, and you don't know what the dosage is, because now you can potentially cure somebody from COVID-19 and then kill them with the chloroquine. Right. So they have to make sure they get the dosage right.
Yeah.
So you just have to be patient, and they'll get the treatment right. So
it's just like, for me, I'm out of work, and I think for a lot of people, that's what's putting people over the edge. Is like, I can't work, and I'm like, it's insane, like it's unprecedented. Everybody I know, even my parents, they had to close their business. My parents, they have their own business that they've had a long time. They've lived, my parents started their business in 2001. They got through the recession of 2008, and this is the first time in 20 years that they've been open that they had to close their doors.
Yeah.
And it's scary, bro. Like
it is. But if you have to keep that balance, because if we all panic,
I ain't panicking. I panicked already. Now I'm just like cruising.
Yeah. Well, that's staying cruise, baby. Stay cruise.
I mean, we'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be
fine.
But
like, I don't know. I saw a meme the other day. I think I might have even seen this today. They said, staying quarantined in your house for 2 weeks, with the internet and, Netflix and Hulu and
electricity,
Amazon Prime
running water.
They were like, Anne Frank and like however many people were in an attic that was like, 100 square feet. And couldn't say a fucking word. And they were there for like 2 years,
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. And look at us. We're fucking...
Yeah, at any given moment, the Nazis could just roll through and fucking take them out. Yeah. So, it's good to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people get too optimistic and I start getting annoyed. Because, like right when they started... sort of saying everyone stay home. They started shutting down a lot of businesses and a lot of people were out of work. I saw this meme and it was like, and the people were out of work and everyone stayed home and everyone meditated and everyone, realized and got perspective on their life and in the end, we were all better for the experience. Well, I was like, fuck you. I got to go to work. I got to pay my motherfucking bills. What the fuck you talking? Gosh, shit.
Well, let me give you a little bit more of that.
Go.
Italy hit the hardest, at least reported. We have to remember, Italy it was hit hard because they have the oldest population in Europe, and now we have this.
Why is that?
I don't know. They also. I just read something the other day too that Italy, in the world has people living together.
Yeah.
With older and a younger generation. Like they're the most. How do you say it? Like people living in one unit. Out of the whole world, they have the most people living from different generations. So you have older generation that are susceptible to the virus, living with younger generations that are not as susceptible to the virus.
Right.
So that's why they're telling people stay home, telling the kids, because if you have like me, I have my dad here. If I go out and party and go fucking spring breaking or whatever the fuck, and then I catch the virus, I may be fine. Yeah. But I come back and I get my dad infected. And then,
no, for sure.
And then
I haven't seen I've talked about it on the podcast. I hang out with my grandfather a lot. He's pushing 90. He's gonna be 90 this year. And we especially in recent years, like we'll average hanging out once or twice a week, to go out to lunch, whatever. And I haven't seen him. Yeah. I call him and old folk, they're always like, they're just fucking trying to scare us, and I ain't scared, and this and that. And I'm like, and I'm just like, hey man, fuck you, bro. I know you don't give a fuck. Like, you're on your way out. You don't care anymore. You're like, fuck it, but fuck you. I don't want you to go anywhere.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because before I went to Disneyland, I was thinking about canceling the whole trip. And my dad took me to the side and he was like, no. He goes, no, what the fuck? Yeah. He's like, don't cancel the trip. He goes, your son wants to go. He goes, and you're able to take him.
Yeah.
Take him. He goes, if I
and I see that because you know what? It wasn't easy for you guys growing up. So, I mean, I'm sure he wants his grandson to have a better – we all want our children to have it better than we did, right?
Yeah. So, what I did, even when I came back, the clothes I took, we wrapped it up, we fucking threw it in the washer, washed our hands, fucking sanitized everything, our hands and shit like that. So, I mean, shit, it seems like it worked so fine, but I guess we'll find out in another 20 days.
I've been drinking a couple beers, trying to get all emotional and shit.
Well, let's get back to Italy.
Yeah, Italy.
So, they have the oldest population in Europe, so that's one. Two, their healthcare system wasn't as great, and it wasn't gonna. And then that's the reason why the U.S. is trying to do these extra precautions of quarantine.
Well, our health system ain't that great.
No,
either.
Exactly, and they don't want it to collapse.
Yeah,
because
all of a sudden everyone gives a fuck.
Yeah, because if everybody starts to get infected, the healthcare system will not be able to contain, the situation. That everything's gonna, there's people like in Italy right now, they're allowing people that are over 65 or 80 that are like in like that just. They're gonna need extra treatment or just extra care. They're letting them just die. They're considering like, okay, we can't help you. So
I saw a headline. There's so many headlines you could see, but I saw a headline saying that like, I wish I could quote it exactly because I don't want to misquote it. But the headline was along the lines of like the CDC was just like they just kind of threw their hands up, but they're like, we can't contain it. Like, just forget it. We can't contain it. Just whatever the alternative is or whatever the other option is, containing it is just not a fucking option. It's way too fucking hard, other than staying inside and I think I've been doing my part. The only thing I've been doing that I probably shouldn't be doing is I have been visiting my parents more.
Well, if you're going to visit your parents more, and this is why I suggested earlier, is just stay with them, dude. If you want to see them that much,
well, I'd like, again, I don't go anywhere. I've been. I go to my parents' house.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
I go home and then that's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really want to eliminate the risk, because there's still a small percentage of risk.
And it's funny because I only go. I mean, I go to see my parents because I love them.
But then you have to trust that Ryan doesn't meet somebody in his Lyft ride that catches it.
Christ, you're right. I should probably just.
So if you want to see your family,
just stay there.
Just stay there, dude.
Honestly. I know, but then shit. There's a reason why I moved out.
Well, it's an emergency times.
No, I know, but then I like to go see my niece, and like she's getting old. I mean, she's growing up really quick, and like she's what 2.5, she's gonna be 3. Like she knows me now. She calls me uncle. She likes to hang out with me, and we'll play and this and that, and it's a lot of fun. And I don't want to lose that. And I know I'm not, but
you're not. You're just gonna have to wait it out a couple months.
Who drives me nuts is my brother, but. That guy's something else, but it's we're living in unprecedented times, but I think every generation lives in unprecedented times. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, we don't have Nazis,
No, for sure. I mean, not yet, but I don't know. It's just like, it's just crazy everything that's going on. Italy, I wish I had more of an opinion, but
and then Italy,
trying to get buzzed
because of the whole quarantine. Look what's happening. The world is cleaning. It's getting clean.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That is like. Now that there's like nobody on the streets anymore, nobody's driving their car, and the earth is like, and then it's funny, right when we got thrown out of work a week ago, it rained in LA for like 5 days straight, and there was like no sun. And
it made it even more depressing.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I was ready to jump out a window, and but yeah, it's like the earth is like almost
raining
it's
right
almost
now.
Like, it's raining right now. It's almost like the earth is like taking this opportunity to like, let's shower up. There's no fucking.
Did I tell you my? I think I told you my theory.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said that like maybe this is like a global effort to keep everyone inside for a certain amount of time so that the earth can sort of take a fucking breath.
Yeah.
And maybe this will stop global warming, because before this, global warming was really our biggest threat to the planet. Like it still probably is, but
but like China, they there was reports of China like a week ago seeing their first blue sky.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's fucking insane.
It's so weird too. Like when stuff like this goes down, we really are like human beings. The human race, we really are the disease to the planet. Like we destroy the planet, and I mean, and I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. Like even though, probably us as a generation, like we're more aware of it. We're more open-minded to the idea of global warming and emissions, and we want to save the earth. We also still have to live our daily lives. I take public transportation. I take the bus. You have a car. This and that. I don't always recycle. This and that. Like. We're guilty of destroying the planet as a whole. And I forgot my point. But what the hell was I going to say?
Well, I can tell you.
No,
I
remember what I was going to say. But it's funny, like, if you look through history, the earth has a weird way of, like, resetting itself.
Yeah.
And, like, I always use the example of the potato famine in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck was going on in Ireland, but like they went through a potato famine. They lost a lot of food. A lot of people died. The British government, our parliament, whatever you call them, they pretty much said, fuck Ireland. Let them. And then what happened was, and eventually like it just evened out.
Yeah.
Evened out. Like pretty much what happened was, this was the population of Ireland. This was how many fucking potatoes. And I know I'm trying to stay within the frame of the camera, so I know it doesn't look, but really it was like this, but it was, this and that, and like so many people started to die, and like eventually it just evened out, and like
which
boom,
is flattening the curve,
and also too, the plague, the bubonic plague, right? A lot of like 60% of the population wiped out, right? And even though that was horrible, post bubonic plague, the human race was like thriving. Because it was so little people that there was so many resources. People started getting taller, and there was this and that, and
and it went
away
on its own.
R.I.P. to everyone who's died from the.
It went away on its own. Same thing with Spanish flu.
Yeah,
Spanish flu came in, killed everybody it needed to kill, and then just went away.
But what's funny is. It's almost like it's shitty. It killed who it had to kill. You say but it did. I was watching The Dark Knight, and he goes, "There's only one." The Harvey Dent. Remember at the end, he flips his coin. He goes, "There's only one way to live life." He goes, "By chance, unbiased, and it is and it's the only justice we get in this world is chance. It's like wow, it is what it is, sort of thing." So. A lot of people are dying, but it's almost a quote unquote necessary evil to save the earth and to save, really to save us.
Yeah,
the earth is because Earth ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Earth's gonna be here forever. You know what I'm saying? Well, until the sun explodes, but the Earth's kind of trying to save us, trying to like revert itself so that we can continue to live on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
And then you see videos from Italy.
Fucking Earth, what's your problem?
Huh? What's gonna be Earth?
What's gonna be Earth?
Huh? Then there's these beautiful videos from Italy, from the canals being so clear. Fish are in there.
And then like dolphins are
Dolphins
coming
are
out. We're
coming
just
out.
like we're the worst, dude.
Yeah.
We are the fucking worst.
And on another happier note, Apple reopens 42 stores in China.
Yes. Yes.
So you're gonna get your iPhone.
You know what's funny is my dad. We were the other day. I was at my parents' house, and my dad was like, you know, if Steve Jobs was still alive, he'd know what to do. I was like, you know what, Pops, you're probably right. You know?
Well, fucking Bill Gates was trying to fucking warn us.
Yeah, I saw that the TED Talk from 2015 where he was like, fuck asteroids, fuck volcanoes, fuck, you know, disease is gonna come and take everybody.
You know what's funny? My uncle, you know, he was working on my car right now.
Yeah.
And he told me.
Your uncle's funny, dude. He's kind of quirky, you know, because he's like kind of like a veterano dude, but he's kind of, you know, he's not like, he's kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? He's, you know, some veterano guys. Sometimes they're real straight, you know, straight. Like they don't joke about anything, you know. Yeah. But he's a funny guy.
Well, he was telling me because he was like, "Are you working right now, mijo?" And I was like, "Nah, like, you know, that's why you know, whatever I had to fix my car, that was it. That was like," and he goes, "Man, you know, that was like 3 weeks ago." I go, "Yeah, it's gotten that uncertain." And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, that's right. So they closed down your job." I was like, "Well, yeah, because we work at the theaters." Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta stay away from that space dust." And I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Well, I guess you're right," because like I just said, it's believed to have originated from Wuhan. Now, granted, it's probably not from space, but he was hinting at it being a disease that came from outer space.
Somebody posted something. No, so somebody posted something and back to this Netflix show where they talked about pandemics. They talk about SARS. SARS was, you know, I forget, like in the 2000s sometime. And in China, they have what are called wet markets. Yep. I don't know if you know what those are. I'm sure you do. But for those who don't, wet markets, they're like swap meets. You know, imagine a swap meet or even like a farmer's market where like there's people and they're set up. They have their little shops and it's very closed quarters and everything's very close. But in China, these wet markets, what they do is they're like butcher shops. But they butcher, you go and you get whatever you're looking for and they butcher it right there in front of you. Like the animals are alive, and so then they fucking butcher, and it's not sanitary. They're not this and that. So a lot of blood is getting mixed with other blood and cross contaminated. But it's also not, you know, in China, you know, they eat dogs, you know, and that's, you know, and I'm not saying that as I'm not saying it like as a way to say, oh, China eats dogs. They do eat dogs. Yeah. You know, like
I mean, they eat exotic animals, snakes,
bats. You know, koalas, you know, there's all kinds, you know, and plus these animals, they're small. They can keep, you know, like I said, it's confined spaces these people are working in. So they're not, you know, they're not having cows and pigs and, you know, and everything. It's smaller animals that can be caged. And SARS came from wet markets. And it's pretty much, I think I saw something saying that it's been confirmed that it originated in a wet market.
Yeah, they're saying that the wet market in Wuhan may originate from there, but not specifically from a bat. I mean, they said likely scenario it came from a bat.
I saw something. Somebody posted something. It was like some sort of like medical journal or some sort of, and it was from 2007, the year I graduated high school, and it pretty much said, well, it was like a whole article, but it was highlighted. It was 2007 was circled, and it was highlighted, and it pretty much said the practice of wet markets in China, and you know the chance of disease is a ticking time bomb. It's in like it's just a matter of time before that shit, and it kind of sucks because, you know, we have Asian friends. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood where there was a lot of Asian people, and I don't like the idea of and people are so stupid and so easily influenced. I don't like the idea of because this came from China, or allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
and because it came from wet markets, that now we have to turn around and be like, oh well, fuck Asian people,
Yeah.
fuck Chinese people, this and
And-
that. It's to sort of forget about the coronavirus for a second. Ever since Trump has been in office, I've always had this thought where I feel like white people are getting like a bad rap now.
Yeah.
Where like where I don't like it because I have friends who are white. I have people I grew up with, not a lot, but people who are white, who now, because Trump's out here wrangling up Mexicans and trying to send them back and caging up kids and this and that and that and this. Now I have to be anti-white. I don't want to be anti-white.
Yeah.
I don't want to be anti anything.
Yeah.
I just want to fucking.
Can't we just be?
Just want to go to
anti-bad
work.
people?
God damn it.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird time to be alive, and watching Trump on the news and watching, like, there are things he's doing that seem Trump is such a douchebag that when he talks about sending out checks to Americans, it's like, oh wow, like Trump, I'm starting to actually like, wow, Trump's doing some stuff that seems like he's trying to help people, but like, because he's such a dick, that's him doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, if it was anyone else, that would be like, well, that seems necessary. That seems like, but
But
because
right now,
it's Trump, it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
man, he's fucking Jesus. He's saving everybody. You know what I'm saying?
which is probably what's gonna win him the election.
And it's fuck, and that's fine. You want to win the election, Trump, fine. Why I gotta fucking be out of work?
Well,
I don't know.
things will get better.
They're gonna get better.
Mm-hmm.
Famous last words, right? But
Just know this: toilet paper will not fucking save you from the virus.
what did you were saying something about how they were interviewing people in China, saying like, how do you feel about Americans over buying toilet
and
paper?
they're fucking they're like in disbelief.
You were saying that, like, they were saying like, now that you guys have been dealing with Corona for this long
and quarantined.
how do you feel about the Americans going out and hoarding toilet paper and this and that? And that you said that they were like, this must be like, they thought they were like,
it was a joke.
They thought they were like on a hidden camera show.
Yeah,
that
they're
like,
wait, what?
Like,
No.
yeah.
They're like, no, there's no way. There's
That
no
can't
way
be
they
true,
did it.
right?
Yeah,
That's not true.
Yeah, well, it is. It's true. And people are doing it because they're scared.
But you know what?
There's like 15 different ways you can fucking
But you know what,
wipe your
dude?
ass.
Hysteria is fucking real. Because you know what? I ran out and I bought a bunch of toilet paper. And I like to think that I'm a pretty sensible guy,
Yeah. I mean, shit. We all did.
You know? It's like, don't you, like, you would think they'd be going out buying food, you know what I'm saying? And they did. Like, it got to that point. Like,
Well, remember what I told you? We were at the market today.
yeah.
And I told you, you're like, I don't know if you told me why, but I was like buying spices. I was looking at the spices. I took a while looking for the spices I wanted. You're like, dude, like, why are you looking for spices? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. I was like, this is no time for delicious food.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck that. If I'm going out on that apocalypse, I'm going out with a tasty fucking delicious
That's right. Fuck that.
I'll make sure I'm not going out with a bland ass fucking dinner.
Shit.
And if the spices only last me a week, well, fuck it.
Yeah,
At least I
shit.
ate
When
good
I
for a
die, my sodium is going to be like,
Through the roof.
yeah, 5 million milligrams of sodium in my body when I'm dead. Oh, my God. Anyway, hey, we did an hour.
Yeah, we did.
Like, no, we're doing this podcast thing like it ain't no thing.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
All right,
And
well, hopefully, we touched on some shit, I guess. And
we just
hopefully
want to make sure everybody, stays calm. Everything's gonna be fine.
one
We'll be
more thing. I think another thing that is I've been thinking about is, as Americans, people who live in the United States, we're so used to watching the news and seeing things happen and seeing bad things happen all over the world. But it never actually reaches us, especially us. We live in L.A., we live in California. We're it's like we live in a bubble. Nothing ever goes down. We can live our lives no matter what's happening. We can live our lives on a daily basis, make our money.
Tornadoes, fucking blizzards.
Like it rains, we start tripping. You know what I'm saying? And we're good. And I think that's what's scaring people is that, man, this is right at our front door suddenly, and it's like, wait a minute, no, we're American. We don't have to do. We're protected.
This is Hollywood, baby.
It's Hollywood, man. We're protected. Nothing happens here. Shit, and I think that's something that even for me, like I'm like, man, this is really going down. Like I but they always say, no one gives a fuck until it's knocking at their front door, and it's true. It's true. And like also too, like, with everyone buying toilet paper and buying water, and this and that, it's like all those like doomsday preppers. How smug must they be right now? Oh my God, they must be like, I told you all, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was that? Like Orlando, our homie Orlando, and like Jrat, they've always been very into conspiracies and very into like, be prepared for this and that and that and this. And Orlando, I've known a long time, and I told you earlier, he goes, I'm like, it can't go down like this. I go, it can't, because the only thing worse to me than the world fucking ending is fucking Orlando being right. I will not let that happen.
Fuck that.
I will fucking go to war. Oh my God. Anyways, I don't know.
Well,
end the show.
Be safe. End it. Stay healthy, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll still be doing the podcast for as long as we can. We'll try to make your day a little brighter. The next episode, let's not talk about coronavirus. Let's have some fun.
Let's do something fun. Like what? Any ideas?
We'll think of something. We'll have something for you guys.
Hey, let's just play Texas Hold'em.
Yeah. Or play some Bean Boozled.
Bean Boozled. That's always a fan favorite. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for us here at the Rev Filo Show.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Subscribe. I've noticed our subscribers haven't gone up lately.
It's okay. It'll go up.
Like and comment. Oh yeah, comment. Please comment.
Yeah.
Because we're nobodies.
Yeah.
So we look at all your comments.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you.
And stay safe. Wash your hands. And it'll all blow over. We'll be all right. We'll be. Real quick. Remember when what's his name? The UFC guy from Ireland. McGregor.
McGregor, yes.
Remember when McGregor fought the boxer guy, Mayweather? Mm-hmm. They say that like professional sports is really almost more about the hype, especially boxing, and that sort of originated with like Muhammad Ali, right? Mm-hmm. McGregor, say what you want about him. He did something I was like, man, that's the best shit talking I've ever heard in my entire life. I will never forget it. He was doing a press conference with he was doing a press conference, and then Mayweather's father comes in, and
senior.
Mayweather Senior comes in, and he's because fucking McGregor was just running his mouth, and like he was not having it, this and that. Mayweather lost. He ended up losing, but still he won the shit talking battle.
See where you're going with this COVID-19.
Right, no, this is gonna watch. Listen, just wait till the end. I'll never forget it. Mayweather Senior walked into the press conference, and he starts, yelling shit. And it's funny because when you see the video, Mayweather Senior's off mic, and he's kind of like, ah!
Yeah.
And I love watching shit when they're off mic, because when you hear him off mic, like it just sounds funny for some reason. So, Mayweather Senior's talking shit, and then McGregor goes, you know what? He goes, I'm gonna fuck your boy up. And he goes, and you know what? You should have retired. He goes, it's your fault. He goes, you gave your boy bad advice. He goes, y'all could have retired and walked off into the sunset. He goes, but you got greedy. And you know what? Now, your boy is gonna go to sleep. And he goes, he's going to go to sleep. But that's okay. Because when he wakes up, he's going to be a better man. So I say to you, America, when this is all over, it's all right. Because you're going to be better for the experience.